everybody, and good morning. Well, if it's morning where you are as well, it's morning here in Amsterdam when I'm filming this. And I had a really lazy Saturday, just woke up later than usual, had my coffee, browsed my favorite websites for a while, and now I am preparing to go out for a bit, and I'll take you guys with me. Because I'm going to a vintage market in Javaplan, and I'm planning to go see what interesting things I can find there. I'm not exactly sure what people are going to be bringing, because it could be clothing, it could be house stuff, it could be antiques, or it could be super new stuff that people try to pass off as vintage. I've seen that a lot of times at vintage fairs. So I'm curious to see what's going on. I found out about this market on Facebook. So that was good. I guess that's one use of Facebook. And I'm planning to go in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go check it out. And the weather is not great, I have to say. It's been on and off raining and some patches of sunshine, but mostly windy and chilly and gray. So that's not amazing, but yeah, let's see what we can do. And one thing that I feel I have to say, and that you probably will pick up on as well, is that this video doesn't have the same quality as the previous ones, and that is because I have managed to break my camera. And after this moment of recollection, I'm just going to say it was completely my fault. I dropped it and unfortunately it broke immediately. Apparently it's pretty sensitive, but luckily it had full warranty, so I sent it back to get repaired or replaced. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for my good camera to come back, I will still be filming with my old one that I still have at home. So that's that, but now it's time to do the best that we can, so I'll take you guys with me and with my old camera and go visit the vintage market. And before I leave, I wanted to show you my outfit as well. As you can see, it's pretty basic and simple, just a regular sweater with black jeans, because when you go vintage shopping or to flea markets or anything like that, I do recommend that you dress as comfortably as possible, because you're just going there to be going through piles of stuff, of household objects, of clothing, of, I don't know, it can be curtains, pillows, anything like that. But you don't want to be wearing like uncomfortable clothing, super high heels or miniskirts or whatever else. It's not a place to do a little fashion show, it's just somewhere to go and see what you can find, what you can buy. and as you guys could maybe have guessed, I did pick up a few things. But I have to say, when I got there, I was a little bit disappointed because the market was really small. And I mean, if you are from Amsterdam and you know job applying, that's where the market was being held. So it was basically just a few stalls going around the main building in the market, and it's a tiny square. So there weren't very many stalls, and the ones that I saw at first just had items that, in my opinion, could not be classified as vintage, because it was basically household items, let's say some old items, but like they were not reconditioned or refurbished in any way. They were just pretty much like the old items you might pull from your grandma's attic and that people were bringing there to sell. So at first I thought it was going to be a complete bust, and then of course it started raining as well, so it was like really bad weather, and I felt like the whole effort was done for nothing. But then I was lucky enough to find a stall with dresses from Laura Dolls. And if you know this store in Amsterdam, it's one of the best vintage shops here, and they specialize in dresses from the 50s and afterwards, and they have amazing stuff all the time. So I'm to show you guys what I picked up from their stall. Right, so first off is this little number, which I think is super cheerful and happy and bright, and I absolutely loved it the moment that I saw it. And as you guys might remember, I told you I used to hate yellow, but now I seem to have a newfound love for it, especially for these very warm solar shades of yellow, so not the super bright punchy ones, but the ones that are a little bit more mellow. And I love this top, and I have to say the part that I love the most about it is the fact that it has a little bit poofy shoulders, let's say, not too much, but just right. And I only noticed this when I arrived home with the blouse and I actually tried it on, and I absolutely love the shoulders. They are amazing. And one thing that I really loved about this top, well, top, shirt, jacket, whatever, I think you can also wear it just as outerwear as a really light jacket on a summer evening. But what I really loved about it is the embroidery. It's really beautiful, and it seems to be handmade. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Unfortunately, the saleswoman there couldn't tell me how old it was. Well, she knew it was very old, but I don't know how old that means exactly. But it does appear to be handmade because it has absolutely no labels, and there are no labels that seem to have been cut from it, because you generally have a little edge where you can see there was a label. But this one seems to be handmade, which, to be honest, makes it even more valuable for me. And another thing that makes me think this was probably not store-bought, but someone's own manual creation, let's say, is the stitching. The fact that it doesn't have that, you know, perfectly aligned, perfectly straight stitching that you generally see in items that have been mass-produced. So I am inclined to believe that somebody probably made this at their own sewing machine, which would be awesome. And although the sales lady was unable, unfortunately, to tell me how old this top is, I would say by the style and by the stitching and by the buttons and everything that it's probably late 60s to early 70s. I don't know, I might be wrong, but this is just from my knowledge of vintage and from what I've been able to read online and educate myself from. But either way, I absolutely love it. I would have bought it even if it were brand new. But this just makes it even more special because it seems to be somebody's handiwork. And the other item of clothing that I got from Laura Dolls is, surprise, surprise, a dress. And yes, I know that I have tons of them already, but I felt like I kind of wanted another dress. And I picked this one because of its beautiful print. It has an amazing flowery pattern, and I love the color as well, the base color. And I also love the little ruffles that it has on it. And I love this cut as well. This is called a go-day cut because of the little pieces of fabric that are inserted into the bottom of the skirt. And these are called go-day. And they make the skirt a lot flouncier and more fluid and more ample and feminine, and you know, all of the adjectives that I want my dresses to be described by. And this is the kind of dress that I would definitely wear in the spring or in the summer. I can imagine this with a nice straw hat and with sandals. But I think this can also be worn in a grungier manner, of course, with tights and with combat boots and with a leather jacket on top, you know, just to bring a bit of edge to this otherwise very feminine dress. And the other thing that I like about this dress is that the little buttons it has in front are all covered in fabric, in the same fabric that the dress is made of. And I don't know, this to me just makes it look a lot more, you know, like people put a lot more attention into producing this dress. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but yeah, it just looks like a lot more time and attention was invested into it. and this is just because of a small detail like this. And unfortunately, this dress also doesn't have a tag, so I wouldn't be able to say how old it is. I did check out the zipper, which is plastic, so then it's definitely a more recent production. I would say it could be, by the style of it, by the print, by how it's cut here in the bust area, it could be a 70s dress. I would say it could be a 90s dress as well, because that's when they had that really grungy style, you know, when they would be pairing dresses, like I said before, with leather jackets and wearing like really fluid dresses with more tough, edgy accessories. So I would say it could fall into either of these decades. Anyway, I picked it because I absolutely loved it, and to me it just screams feminine and delicate and beautiful. And finally, the pièce de résistance of this whole shopping trip is this gorgeous structured bag. I absolutely love it, and I fell in love with it the moment that I saw it. And I've been looking for such a structured bag with a beautiful caramel beige color like this one for a really long time. So when I saw this one, I knew I had to have it. And this bag I actually noticed when I was just about to leave the vintage market, so I could have just as easily walked by and never seen it. But fortunately I did, and I bought it straight away. And the sales lady told me it's a 60s bag, which, judging by the style, by the structured look, by the handles, and also by the hardware, I would say is pretty accurate. And this bag only cost me 20 euros, which is such a steal, I think. And inside is pretty classic, 2 compartments. Of course, there is quite some wear and tear inside, but you know, that's the risk you take when you buy vintage items. And I think that's nothing that a good dry cleaning can solve. But yeah, this is absolutely my pride and joy, because I know it can be coupled with so many items, with so many outfits, and it just makes every single look a bit classier. So these were the vintage items that I managed to buy from the market. I think I did pretty well considering the offer. And of course, after washing and ironing the clothes, and after giving the bag a good dry scrub inside, I think they are ready to be taken out and about. So now I'm going to go eat something, maybe do my nails, because they are absolutely horrendous and I don't want to keep appearing like this in front of you guys. And then afterwards, in the afternoon, we can start the DIY project together. Right, so I'm back for the second half of the video, as promised, with the fabulous DIY. And I'm super excited for this little project because, like I said, I've been wanting to add something to my filming area wall. You know, like I've done for above my desk, to make the filming area more interesting and to make the background of my videos a bit more fun to look at. And I was envisioning a floral background, you know, like a 3D floral applique wall decoration. So I went online looking for silk petals, and I found these ones at AliExpress. They were incredibly cheap and actually look as good as they do in the pictures. So I figured I'd be using these petals to build my masterpiece. But of course, since we live in a rented apartment at the moment, I couldn't actually hang anything. So I couldn't create an actual painting that would need a nail in the wall, which is why I started looking for solutions to hang pictures without nails. Enter the Lego Master magic charts. They're basically pretty thin sheets of shiny paper that is electrostatically charged. And this means you can just put them on the wall, you can smooth them over a wall, and then you don't need any glue or any nails or anything like that for them to stick. And I know they were initially marketed as charts for meetings because you can write on them with a special marker, you can erase it, you can rewrite on them, so they're actually super practical. But of course, I thought I would use them to make some pretty stuff for my walls. Why not? Anyway, so I got this pack from Xenos for those of you living in the Netherlands. Well, as you can see, the package looks like it was ripped through by a rabid wolverine, but hey, what can I say? I was excited when I got it. And it was something like 20 euros for 20 sheets, which seems fair enough to me considering that they can be used for all sorts of purposes, and I can use them now to embellish my walls. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll be making flowers out of these silk petals, and then I'll be gluing them to the Lego Master sheet. And for this I use the clear glue because you don't want any white residue to show up on the sheet or on your flowers. And I chose the universal adhesive from Bison because I know that once you put this on, it basically stays put forever, and this is suitable for any sort of surfaces. And of course you can make the flowers as big as you want or as small as you want, and I actually went with different size flowers, different colors, mixing the 3 colors together just to make it a bit more interesting. I didn't want to have a board full of identical flowers. So you can make buds out of them, or you can go with big full-blown plump flowers. It's really up to you. And as you can see, I went with 3 colorways. I got a really demure white with a light pink border, and then I went with a super bright hot pink fuchsia shade. And also I chose these red petals that have a blackish bottom. And when I saw them, I actually thought of poppies. I thought these would be absolutely amazing to create a field of poppies in my house, which I kind of have. And then just keep at it, keep at it, keep adding more flowers, keep adding more petals. It's really as easy to create the big flowers as it is to make the small ones. It just takes you a bit longer time, and then you need to keep adding petals on the edges, but the process itself is really the same. And I have to say, this took quite a few hours, so be prepared to spend basically a whole afternoon and a morning or a whole day to be making these flowers. Well, of course, it depends on the surface that you need to cover, but it actually turned out that these sheets were quite big, so I needed more flowers than I initially planned for to cover it. And you know, I went and did my nails right before I started filming the second part of the video, because I didn't really want you guys to be staring at my unmanicured fingers for the whole duration of it. Yeah, that wasn't a very smart idea, because it actually turns out that glue and nail polish don't really mix. And also the glue starts drying on your fingers at one point, so then you will constantly need to use a glue remover, which, guess what, also removes your nail polish. So I would recommend that you wear gloves. Maybe that would help, you know, like surgical gloves. Or if you have a gel manicure, that would probably be fine. I don't think the glue or the glue remover would really act on that. I have no idea, because I don't really get them. Or, you know, maybe just don't put nail polish on your nails right before you start the project. And I'm super happy with this project. I think the end result is going to be amazing. And I think it's such a great way to add a little bit of excitement and a bit of sparkle to an otherwise bland, boring white wall. And it's also super cheap to make if you think about it. Like, the petals were about $3 in total, and it was another $3 or $4 to have them shipped from China to Amsterdam. And then one Lego Master sheet is basically €1. So if you think about it, you get your own work of art, which is personalized to your taste, for about, what, €7-8, which I think is amazing. Ta-da! The end result. I'm super happy with how it turned out. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I can see all the hard work and all the time that I've put into this project paying off. I think it makes the room look a lot better, a lot more interesting and exciting, and it's such an eye-catching piece. So guys, let me know if you like this DIY. Let me know if you tried it, of course. I would really like to hear what your results with it were. And thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you here for my next video. And if you haven't subscribed by now, please do so then you get notified every time I upload a new video on my channel. Thank you very much for being with me so far, and I'll see you here next time. Bye everybody!